Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible? Until behind everyone completely. So we'll keep this session very informative. I don't believe in just reading out the PPTs, right? Wherever you're having any doubts, just raise your hands and ask me the question. Okay. So my name is Arun. Uh, is it better? Do we need the mic or am I audible? Okay. So my name is Arun. I belong to a consultancy called Dollar Dreams, right? We are located in Panjagutta. We basically send students abroad in major destinations like UK, USA, Canada, Australia, Ireland, and other European countries. So why why having an education abroad? I mean, what benefits does it bring you, right? So let's say the major important thing that happens when you go outside is about the exposure. Okay, when you go to a different location, you learn different cultures. You meet a lot of different people coming from different parts of the world. That brings in confidence. Okay, so when you are coming back to India after studying abroad, let's say you decide to come back to India after studying abroad, you are coming with a different kind of confidence. So when you sit with people around you, you are someone who has went to a different location, lived there independently, have seen different type parts of the world, met different people. That is what further education brings you. So the most important thing is the exposure. Okay, now what we'll do in this particular session today is I'll explain you about different countries, what all options you have as a management student, what is the budget required, right? What is the process if you decide to go to any particular country? So these are the parameters that we're going to discuss today. So which location do you want to start with? Canada or US? Who wants to start with US? Okay, let's raise hands. We have four. We'll start with four countries: Canada, USA, UK, Australia. Who wants to do US first? Okay, what about Canada? Whoa. Okay, there are people in the Zoom as well. What about Australia? What about UK? Okay, fantastic. Majority is for Canada. We will start with Canada. So, Canada is the second largest country in the world in terms of, you look at the geography, it's the second largest country in the world. But the population of Canada is less than Mumbai plus Pune's population, right? So this country has a huge scope of bringing in people, right? Now, when you look at Canada, why Canada is famous, it is because of its immigration policies. If you are someone who is looking forward to have a settlement, like for example, you want to get into America, you want to get a PR, stay in Canada, or maybe work in US, and you're looking for easy immigration, Canada is the place for you. Now, the first language of Canada is English, and the second language is French. So French is only spoken in a location called Quebec, which where you would have heard about Montreal, right? Now, the major destinations in Canada is Toronto and Vancouver. So, like there is Calgary, there's Edmonton, there are other developed cities too, but majority migration happens to Toronto and Vancouver. Now, if you are planning for Canada, you guys coming from management in this institute, I know that you're aspiring for either CA or maybe ACCA accreditations. So it's called CPA there, right? You got to write the licensing exams to be a licensed professional, licensed accountant. Now, Canada does give you opportunities when it comes to permanent residency. How this works out is you go to Canada, study a program there, work in Canada for a year, and then you can apply for PR. You have enough points to apply for PR. There are few locations in Canada where you can get a PR right after studying if you're going to rural locations, right? Now, how the basic process works is there are three major parameters. Number one is language proficiency exams. Okay, so any country you want to migrate, most of the countries need you to write some kind of language proficiency exam. It's majorly IELTS, and there is PT, and there is TOEFL, right? Now Canada accepts all three of them. So if you have an average score of 6.5, nothing less than 6, it's a very decent score. Now you would ask, what is the percentage required for me in bachelor's, or what is the percentage required for me in 12th to get the admissions done and the visa done? I would say if you have a 50-55 percentage mark, good to go. That's it. Backlogs 20-30, not a problem, right? So you don't have to feel that ki, "Arey, that went bad, so my options are cut down," nothing like that, right? You do good in your IELTS exam, which is a basic language proficiency exam, and your academics will work out. Now, there are two types of programs after bachelor's. One is master's and the other is called PG diploma. What is PG diploma? It's a very practical oriented program where you will have only assignments. So the Indian education and foreign education's major difference is that foreign education is completely practical in nature. Okay, you will have assignments more. You don't have to mug up, right? So they'll teach you, they'll have PPTs in your classroom, you'll get the projects, you'll have the assignments. You have to submit the assignment, it's gonna be open book. There is no, memorizing thing happening outside. They're more into practically, right? So number one is your language proficiency exam, which could be IELTS, PT or TOEFL. Number two is a 1 year tuition fees. Now, how much could be the fees? So the average fees in Canada is going to be somewhere between 10 to 12 lakhs per year. So in 2 years, if you're studying for a master's, it's going to cost you somewhere between 20 to 22 lakhs. And then there is one third very different thing that Canada asks for. It is called GIC. What is GIC? It's Guaranteed Investment Certificate. Now, what is it basically? It is $20,600 Indian currency, mein, say 12.5 lakhs is an amount that you deposit in a Canadian bank. Once you land in Canada after getting your visa, every month you'll get this funds back. So why the government makes you deposit this fund is because suppose you don't have a part-time job, right? Suppose there is any uncertainties. At that time, you're getting the money every month. You're getting this money which will help you for survival, rent, accommodation, food, all those things. It will help you with that. That is the reason why Canadian government makes you deposit this money. So in total, what could be the overall budget? 12 lakhs of fees for the first year, GIC of around 12 lakhs, which you will be getting back. And then visa application is going to cost you somewhere between 15,000. So the total budget, if you're planning for Canada, is going to be somewhere between 25 to 27 lakhs, from which you'll get this 12 lakhs back. If you save that money, you can use that money for your second year fees. Got the logic? Right? That is how the basic Canada process works. And that is a basic checklist that you need. Before your admissions can be done with MOI, like say you've done your graduation or 12th from English medium school and you get a document called MOI, admissions can be done from that. It can also be done from a very simple basic exam called Duolingo, which just costs 5,000 bucks. You can write it on your own in home, right? But for visa, you need either of these exams, IELTS, PT or TOEFL. Okay? Now, for all those people who have raised hands, before we move into a different country, ask me questions. Like what all questions you have, you can simply bring forward. For those who have, raised hands for Canada, you would have some questions, right? 5 minutes में क्या सब कुछ clear होगा? Go ahead. Nobody has any questions? Achha, who all raised hands for Canada? If you don't have any questions? Scholarship. Okay. Now, if you are having a percentage of say 70 plus, right? And you're applying for master's programs, you could easily get into different kinds of scholarship options where universities either funding you or you can apply for local government scholarships there. But if you're targeting scholarships, you need to start your application process at least 7 to 8 months prior, because these guys have deadline for scholarships, right? Now, there are two types of options that you have. Either you get into very good premium institution, right, where the fees is gonna be more, which could be 22 lakhs, right? And then scholarship options are more there. Or you get into average fees institution, because if it is Canada, your major purpose is to get a PR quickly, right? So whenever a student tries for Canada, my suggestion is always getting into a budget institution so that, we work out our PR quickly in a certain budget, right? If it is studies is what you're looking at, you will have more number of universities in US and UK, right? I'm not saying that Canada doesn't have good universities. It 100% has, but your major perspective here is about PR, right? It is the permanent residency that is taking us there. So 3-4 years, once you get a PR, you can easily move to US and start a career there, if you don't want to stay in Canada, right? Other doubts? All clear? Lecture नहीं ले रहा हूँ, chill मार के पूछो जो भी पूछना है. It's like relax and just ask whatever you want to ask. है ना? ठीक है, we'll go to the next country. US या UK? US, okay. America. So Hyderabad is one of the biggest exporter of manpower and students to US, right? Hence that is the reason Asia's biggest US consulate is in Hyderabad, right? Why US? Why US? Because US is a superpower. Okay, it's a dream destination for a lot of people. All of you would have some or other person, some friends would be there in US, some relatives, some far distant cousins, someone would be there in US. Now, how USA changes your life is you get the new generation, new tech exposure in US first, right? And then it comes down everywhere. Now, if you are looking at US to go to US as a student, how it works out is it has the most simplest process possible. Now, what is the eligibility criteria? 50-55 percentage in your bachelor's or your 12th. Language proficiency exam में US accepts everything. Duolingo also works, right? There is an exam called GRE or GMAT. If you are targeting into core management, very good universities, it is GMAT that you have to write, or else GRE also works. Now, US works with a very simple concept of STEM: science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So if you are targeting USA as a country, you need to get into STEM program. Why? If you are studying a general management program in US, you will have 1 year of post-study work permit, which is called OPT, optional practical training. If you are studying a STEM program, means if your MBA has some STEM aspects to it, or maybe business analytics, yeah, you have to identify programs like MBA Finance, MSc Finance, which has some IT technical aspect to it. Then US will give you 2+ additional years of OPT period, means 2 years of study, 1 year of OPT plus 2 years of extended OPT, means 3 years of post-study work permit. What is post-study work permit? It's basically you can work in that location for 3 more years. Canada also gives you 3 years of post-study work permit, right? So again, coming back to US, how this works is how the process basically works. You write down any language proficiency exam, either IELTS, PT, TOEFL, or Duolingo. Once you write the exam, you do the college applications, university applications, you get the offer letter. Once you get the offer letter, some universities might ask you to pay a deposit amount before giving you the I-20, right? If not, you have to show the finances and then you will get the I-20. Then you'll have to book the slot for visa. So US ka visa is not an online process like Canada. It ends with an interview, right? Now you have to give your biometrics. You have to book the slot for an interview. Now this interview, they'll ask you very generic questions like why do you want to come to US? Why this particular university? Why this particular program? Right? So it can be, you can be trained for that. So once you clear the interview, your visa is approved. That's how the basic US process goes. Okay. Now US has numerous options of universities. Any location, it has more than 600, 700 good ranked universities where Indian students go. From what is the budget? The budget would be somewhere between 3 to 4 lakhs per semester, means 15 lakhs to 35 to 40 lakhs for the entire masters. Now there are very good Ivy League universities also where the fees is 60, 70 lakhs. But yeah, the average fees is between 15 to 30, 35 or a range for your entire master's program, which is like 4 semesters. Okay. Now, which are the major destinations in US? I would say people here prefer Texas, uh, then California, Los Angeles, New York, New Jersey. These locations are the most preferred from this area. And let's say opportunities, once you are in this OPT period, you have to identify a job, and then comes H1B. You have to apply for H1B, which is a ballot. So there are 3 to 4 lakh people who apply for H1B. 70,000 people get picked. Once you are in this H1B and once you continue it, you'll apply for the green card, and then it's a long way to go from there. So US में settlement is gonna take you at least 10 to 15 years to get a green card, right? But exposure wise, US is unbeatable. Now let's bring in questions about US. Like anything, budget, yeah, about the process or types of courses, anything? Yes, students are very smart, huh? They know everything. There is no doubts. So next is, let's say, UK. UK ACCA. If you are, many of you be preparing for ACCA, right? A lot of home ground of ACCA is prepared in UK. So there are universities like Oxford, Oxford Brookes, BPP. These universities develop papers, study materials, and if you study out from there, a lot of exemptions you can get in the ACCA, right? So detailed wise, you can check on the websites of these universities and you'll understand how many papers get cleared, how many exemptions you get, right? The best part about UK is that your cost of education is not going to be more than 15, 17 lakhs. And UK gives the highest number of scholarships. There are a lot of scholarships that you can apply, government based as well as universities also. Now, the best part about UK that I like the most is that you can complete your masters in 1 year. That is one of the best thing that UK does. Most of the countries it takes 2 years. The same curriculum UK covers in 1 year. The average cost of education it's going to be somewhere between 13 to 15 lakhs. Now, if you ask me about the top locations in UK, London to suna hi hoga, right? There is Manchester, there is Liverpool, there is Newcastle, there is Bristol. These locations are the top locations in UK. Now, I would always suggest you when you're planning to go to study, target a location where the cost of living is comparatively less. Once your education is done, you can anytime move to London, right? So if you are staying in a tier 2 city, it doesn't mean that you don't have job opportunities there. Let's say, for example, if you decide to stay in Mumbai in India, if an average 2 BHK house cost rent cost 25,000 in Hyderabad, in Mumbai it could cost 1.5 to 2 lakh rupees, right? Doesn't mean Hyderabad doesn't have job opportunities, right? Obviously, Hyderabad has everything that we want. Similarly, if you decide to stay in a tier 2 city while you're studying outside, no matter what the country, you will save on living expenses, right? It will, it will be very easier on you to pay the rent. Cost of living will be much more easier. Coming back to UK, how the process goes, it is the most simplest process. You don't need any language proficiency exam. If you have around 70 in your 12th English, that makes you eligible to apply for language proficiency waiver. There is no test required. And there are many universities who will accept you if you are recent pass out. For example, if you just completed your 12th 2-3 years back, or maybe completed your bachelor's 5 years back, MOI works out, right? Eligibility criteria 50 to 55%. UK doesn't look at backlogs. So there is no backlog issue in UK. That country doesn't look at backlogs at all. Gap, 8 to 10 years of gap is education gap is accepted, but looking at your faces, you're as young as possible. So gap wala to there is no topic of discussion. So how the process goes, you do the college applications, you get the offer letter. Here you have to show finances, living expenses and fees. Living expenses, what we have to show is if you're going to London, you have to show 12,000 pounds. Pounds means into 100. Easy calculation. So around 12 lakhs you have to show plus the remaining fees. You have to pay the deposit, remaining fees and living expenses you have to show. 28 days old. If you are applying for an education loan, you don't have to show any funds, right? And then you'll get a letter called CAS, which is a sponsorship letter. There is a 2,000 rupees ka TB test that you have to do, and then you get the CAS, and then you apply for the visa. A visa application of UK is expensive. It is going to cost you, there is something called IHS, which is health insurance basically. It is going to cost you somewhere between 75,000 to 1.5 lakhs, depends on the duration of the program. Plus the visa application fees, which is going to be somewhere around 55,000. So in total, visa application is going to cost you somewhere between 1.5 to 2 lakhs. That is the most expensive thing in UK. Remaining rest apart, your cost of education is comparatively very less. You have universities starting from 10 lakhs for the entire masters to 20-25 lakhs. You have got grade 1 A plus universities, right? That's again a very simple process for UK. UK visa success ratio is really high. So as of right now, out of 100 files, 99% people get the visa done. Any confusions about UK? No one, nothing. All clear? Huh? Chalo, fantastic. Australia. Australia, on the southern part, you would have checked Sydney, Melbourne, right? Famous locations in Australia. Australia is very costly in terms of education, but there are some perks to it. So you would have heard your friends say, people you have got friends in Australia would have heard them saying ki you can earn a very good income while doing part-time jobs. Australia is one of the best places to earn in part-times and full-time as well. And there are some good parts about Australia is that you have a very decent and moderate weather. Not too cold, not too warm. And the entire development is in the west coast and the east coast where the beaches are located. Sydney, Melbourne, and on the west there's Perth and all those locations. Australia cost of education is going to be somewhere between say 20 to 35 lakhs. That is the average price. Again, Australia is just like Canada. People prefer Australia because it is easy on immigration. I mean, when it comes to PR, you can expect a PR in 5-6 years if you're going to Australia. Now, language proficiency exam, again, yes, Australia would need you to have mandatory exams. Either it can be IELTS or it can be PT, right? So, how the process goes for Australia, you get done with the exams, do the college applications, you get the offer letter. There is one very different thing that Australia would ask you is about the sponsor. So who is gonna fund you? Who is the person who is sponsoring you? Like parents' income. These parameters are very important in Australia. Plus, if you're showing own funds, it has to be 6 months old. Like for UK, how it is 28 days old. For Australia, they ask for 6 months old funds. Or you have to show source of funds from where that money came in. Or it can be an education loan. If it's an education loan, then you don't have to show matured funds. Okay. So you show these things, you get the offer letter, you pay the first semester fees, you pay the insurance, and you apply for the visa. Visa application is gonna cost you somewhere between 70 to 75,000 as of the recent date. Visa decision, it's an automated process, so it's an online process for visa. It can come in like 5 minutes also, it can take 2 months also. That's how the visa process goes. Australia ka basic clear hai? Now, what I did is I just overruled through most of the countries. Parameters for studying abroad, I think we did country to country wise. Still, I'll brief you out to your most important and the scariest part of stopping everyone from dreaming. What is that? Correct? So I think that is the problem that we have to address. कि पैसा कैसे आएगा? Loan कैसे हो सकता है? Right? I think that is a real problem. That if you are dreaming somewhere to go, the first tension के ना parents के पास पैसे कैसे workout होगा? हम कैसे जा पाएंगे? Budget कितना होगा? कैसे fund होगा? We'll talk about it now. Education loan is something, it depends on multiple parameters. For example, either you have a very good profile. If you have a very good profile, then my dear, nothing is gonna stop you, right? If you have got a very good profile, then there are banks, there are universities, if you are getting it enrolled in, they don't look at co-applicant, they don't look at anything. If your profile is good, loan can be worked out, right? If you're good with your exams, if you're getting admission in top universities, easily loan can be worked out. Now, how does loan work out? What are the types of loan? There are two types of loan. One is funded through bank and one is funded through these NBFCs. Like NBFCs, matlab you'd have heard about Avance, Auxilo, HDFC Credila, Prodigy, Empower. These are NBFCs basically. Banks, all the private and public sector banks. Now there are two types of loan. One is a collateral loan, other is a non-collateral loan. Collateral loan matlab where you're attaching a property. Okay. The rate of interest of collateral loan is somewhere between, it starts from 7 to 8% and goes up to 11%. Right. Non-collateral loan is a loan where you're not keeping any security. Hence, the rate of interest could be somewhere between 10% to 14%. Right. Now, how the loan game works, if you are opting for a 2-year program, let's say US as example, I'm going for a 2-year master's program for US. The bank will give me 1 more year of moratorium period, which means 2 years of master's, I don't have to pay anything. And then I get an additional 1 more year where I don't have to pay. And the repayment starts from the 4th year. Logic samajh aaya? 1 extra year you will get, and from the 4th year, the repayment starts. Bank and NBFCs both adopt the same thing, same logic. Now, how difficult is it to get the loan? So, before getting into that, we'll understand how much can we get the funding. So, we get fees, we get the living expenses. So, for example, if you're going to UK, 12,000 pounds London ka living expenses hai, you will get the 15 lakhs ka fees plus 12,000 ka living expenses. Plus you'll get flight ticket, and if you want to buy laptop, and also overall 30-35 lakhs ka loan can be easily worked out. It depends on your requirement. So even if you take a 35 lakhs of loan, if your 35 lakhs of loan is getting sanctioned, you only have to start paying the repayment of the amount that you have withdrawn. For example, you have a sanction amount of 35 lakhs, but you only use 15 lakhs. So you don't have to pay the entire 35 lakhs per returns. You just only have to pay the amount that is utilized by you. Okay. Now, how the eligibility criteria works? Basically, I'll just, in a very layman's language, I'll tell you, if your parents, father, mother, brother, any close relative has an income of somewhere between 20 to 25,000, can be worked out if they are a co-applicant. So what co-applicant does is, because you guys are going, bank won't give you the funds. They need someone who is here, right? Who has their own property, or it can be set in such a way that you guys have a property, but the co-applicant doesn't have a property. It's fine, right? But they need someone who is a guarantor here, right? Be it collateral, be it non-collateral. Collateral में तो tension ही नहीं है, they have the property. Non-collateral में there is a guarantor that is required. Anyone in your family, if they are ready to, who is having an income, it can be a job, a salary of around 20-25,000, or it can be business also. If it is a business, then you need to make sure that the co-applicant has some kind of proofs. Like for example, income tax return हो गया, registration proof हो गया, shop का license हो गया. Any kind of proof it is available, business income is also fine. So if you have someone in your family who is having an income and is ready to be a co-applicant, education loan can be worked out in your name. It takes 1 to 1.5 weeks, depends on the case, to get the loan done. If it is a very good case, if anyone in the family has a very stable income, 3 days, 2 days, you get the approval done. That is about the funding part, right? Now, repayment pay, if you are talking about, then how it works is that, as I said, if you're going for a 1-year program, you get 1 year more. If you're going for a 2-year program, you get additional 1 year more. From the 4th year, the repayment starts. Anytime in between, if you are getting the funds, so you can foreclose the loan. So tenure is going to be 15-20 years, but nobody takes 15-20 years, because if you calculate the rate of interest for 15-20 years, it's going to be a huge amount. So our target should be internally to close the loan in just 4-5 years. Though the loan is kept approved for 15 years, our target should be that in 4-5 years it's going to be closed. So the rate of interest is going to be less, right? Loan ka clear hai? I think this is the most exciting part that you would have thought, क्या ना fund कैसे आएगा, कैसे करेंगे? You would have got some kind of doubts, right? If you want, you can discuss case to case also. कि like मेरे case में ऐसा है, क्या हो सकता है कि नहीं? Right? Go ahead, guys. You can talk individually also कि individual case में ऐसा होगा तो कैसे करेंगे? Got any doubts? All clear? So what all things we deal with everything. I mean, starting from coaching, we give training for all the language proficiency exams. Now that we are getting associated, I think from here itself, if you're deciding to, you will get most of the things from here itself, right? Service. So IELTS, PT, TOEFL, we give the coaching, we do the admissions process, we take care of the SOP, LOR and all those things. We get the education loan done. We have our own tie-ups with the airlines, so we do ticketing. We have got tie-ups with the major banks, so we do forex as well, where forex basically means transferring the funds to foreign or getting the money here. We take care of forex as well. And yeah, A to Z, whatever it takes to go outside, we take care of it. So that's about, I think, this slide. Okay. English proficiency exams. IELTS PT is the most common exam that you look at when you decide to go outside. What is GRE? Specific countries like Canada and US, some universities ask for GRE. It is not mandatory, but if you have GRE, what benefit it gives you is that it is a competitive exam. There is a higher chance of getting admission in a very better university. Moreover, if you have GRE, scholarships milna आसान है. Let's say writing a 25,000 exam, if it gives you 6-7 lakhs of scholarship, it's good, right? That way GRE you can take. It is not mandatory at all. You can just complete the US trials with only Duolingo. But if you have a combination of IELTS and GRE, it will bring more opportunities, it will bring more scholarships in, it will bring more better quality of universities in a certain budget that you're looking at, right? Duolingo, one of the most common and the most easiest exam, I guess. You don't need much practice. You guys aiming for ACCA and CA and all, for you Duolingo is like a cup of tea. 5,000 rupees ka exam hoga, you can write it in your home. In the Duolingo portal itself, you get to practice Duolingo mock tests. French. So it's not mandatory to learn French before going. If you learn, what additional benefit it does give you is that you will have this upper hand in front of the competition. So for example, you're getting into locations like Canada or France. If you know French, not just Canada, French, you go to any country, if you know an additional language, it will give you a plus point, right? It will give you better opportunities in job. It might give you $4-5 more in wage rate, right? Just because you know an additional language. French also gives you benefit of easier settlement. For example, if you go to Canada and if you know French, it will give you additional 25 points while applying for PR. Similarly, if you are deciding to go to France and you know French, so it's a basic language there. If you know that language, 100% job milne ke chances are there, right? Spoken English is not something for you guys. It's a very basic, English exam. So that was about the exams. About us, we are a 10-year-old organization. We are set up in Hyderabad since more than 5 years. Now, as I said, I would prefer answering questions rather than looking at the PPT. If you have got any case-to-case questions, just feel free to ask me. I am here to solve your any kind of confusions that you have if you have ever thought about going outside. कुछ भी variety नया सा सोच के. Go ahead, bro. Germany. Okay. So European country, Germany, how the process, you want to know the process, how it works? Okay. So it's little similar to Canada. Now Germany has introduced something called APS, where you need to verify your documents in the beginning. So once your education is completed, you log in the file to APS. From your university, the documents is couriered to APS. They verify the documents. In the meantime, we start the application process for college. So the average fees of universities is going to be somewhere between 10 to 15 lakhs. If you have got an extremely good profile, then we can apply for free education also in the public funded universities. So the education cost would be somewhere between 1 to 3 lakhs to decide to go to Germany. That needs an extremely good profile. And the application process has to be done 1.5 years back. You have to plan in the beginning. If you are looking at private institutions, it's going to cost you 10 to 15 lakhs. Best part about Germany is a benchmark when it comes to mechanical engineering or automobile engineering profiles, right? The fees, as I said, 10 to 15 plus there is something called block funds that you have to deposit, just like Canada. How Canada had GIC that you have to deposit, Germany would also require you to deposit these funds if you don't have any exemptions. What is exemption? Like public funded universities se offer letter aaya, full scholarship pe ja rahe ho, then you don't need it. So the average cost is going to cost you somewhere between 20 to 25 lakhs, right? Submit this document for verification, do the college application process. Once you get the APS approval, once you get the offer letter, you pay the fees. Some universities ask you to pay one semester, some universities ask you to pay the entire amount fees. So you pay the fees, you pay the block funds, and then you book the slot. You go to VFS mein jaake you have to submit your biometrics, submit the documents, and then the decision would come in. That's the general process about Germany. Again, Germany is a very good option for students, even for management, entrepreneurship, management, innovation. There are many universities who have options for that. Similar questions? Guys, you can be flexible with the questions. Like you can ask me about different fields. You can ask me about locations. Maybe you can individually discuss your profile, that is it possible to work it out. It can be loan, it can be admissions. Come on guys, थोड़ा इनोवेटिव तो सोचो, कुछ ना कुछ तो डाउट्स लेकर आओ. Major reasons for not getting visa. Okay, interesting. So let's say there could be multiple parameters. Now what does immigration look at? Immigration, many countries, These guys know that you are going there to settle. Okay. When you look at Canada, they want people to come in and stay there. When you look at Australia, they want people to go in and settle there. But they don't want you to show that, right? What you need to show or what you need to portray is that I am going there to study and I will return back as soon as my education is completed. So the major reason for visa rejection is intention. If the visa officer feels that, let's say if you're going for a US interview, if the visa officer feels that he will not return back, he will reject the visa. If it is Canada or online application countries like Australia, if the visa in your SOP and all, if it is projected in such a way that you won't return or you have not shown enough proofs that there are reasons for returning back, then the visa gets rejected. So intention is the number one reason for visa rejection. Other reasons would be like maybe a bad profile, maybe language proficiency exam. If it is IELTS, say 6.5 is the average score. Maybe if the score is like 5 bands, 4.5 bands, it's a bad profile for them. Some countries would look at backlogs like Ireland. If the backlogs are more, they might reject it. Some countries would look at finances like Australia. If the finances are poor, they might reject it. Some countries like US is pretty unpredictable. I have seen cases where the profile is extremely brilliant, but the first time visa gets rejected. Sometimes the student doesn't know how to speak, but by luck he gets it, right? So US जैसे countries में sometimes when they have a quota, so for example, I'm a visa officer, I need to approve 20 cases today. There are 50 people in the line. So once that ratio is hit, I will be rejecting the remaining cases. So sometimes visa rejection is not because of your mistake, right? It just happened. What you need to do is you can again reapply. That's it. That's the most easiest and the only solution possible, right? Next. Clear है ना ये part? Come on guys, be very straight. I mean, just randomly ask what is in your mind.
Today, actually, we are doing CMA, USA, and ACCA. Like, not about pursuing or going for services. I'm asking about whether I can do this. I want to do this in country. Do they have the same process like this, like the testing, or the is it a different process?
Okay, so I'll repeat the question. Guide me if I'm wrong. So you asked basically is that if you are looking at ACCA preparations, and if you're going to a different country, will it help you? Is the process same for clearing the exams? Is what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay. So let's put it into a very practical. I'll put it very practically. Let's say you're going to a university called BPP in UK, okay, which who sets out the papers for ACCA, or maybe Oxford Brooks. If you're going to this university and studying the MBA accounting program, you will get exemptions. So remaining papers you'll have to write it down, but you will get 7 to 8 exemptions just by studying 1 year program there. And also the programs will be completely intended towards helping you clear the ACCA all the papers, right? So exemptions plus a training to clear those exams is what intended education would look like. For example, if you are very clear that I want to go outside and get the ACCA done, then you would be targeting programs which are MSc accounting, MBA accounting, which are specifically designed to clear exemptions, to clear the papers. Got the logic? Is it clear? Yeah, go ahead.
If we clear in India and want to get the job in countries, do we get the loans like this? If we want to go and living there for there and going there and to get that job there, doing job there after completing CMA USA or ACCA here, after having the 2 years of experience.
Absolutely. See, now this depends on getting the job. If you're able to crack down interviews internationally, most of them would want you to be there because they have got people who are already there. They have got students who are passing out from there. So if you have got a very good experience, if you are brilliant enough to clear the interview, you will directly get something called work permit. So all these countries that we are looking at have something called work permit. If you're getting a job, you'll apply for that work permit category visa and you can land into there. Now, when it comes to finances, you won't be able to get education loan, right? You will be able to get a PL, maybe you want a initial some days money you need. You can apply for personal loans, but education loan only works out for education, right? But when your question is about clearing these exams in India and after having an experience, will you be able to settle or migrate to a different country? Absolutely yes, right? It totally depends on us. If you are able to crack down the interviews outside, if they like you so much, they would bring you there, right? Usually international recruitment happens after at least 6-7 years of work experience in good companies, because they have got ample of manpower who are studying from there and getting out, right? So it's not that easy, but I would never say no. You can always try. You have got good work experience, if your concept is very clear, if you are getting recommendations from a good company, let's say you're getting into a company who is maybe a UK or US based company, they might recruit you, they might recommend you. That way it becomes easier. So yeah, answer is yes, definitely. Clear?
Yes, sir.
और कुछ? Bring in guys. Questions तो होगा दिमाग में. Why are you hiding it? I usually get more questions. हाँ, co-applicant. No problem. Agriculture. Yes, agriculture income is accepted. See, there are two things. As I said, agriculture income से loan हो जाएगा workout. ठीक है? It won't be a problem. You get the agriculture income certificate, from that loan can work out. If you are having a good profile and if you are targeting top 200, top 300 universities in the world, now what do I mean by good profile? Good profile means 70% in your bachelor's, 65 भी चलेगा, right? But you work little harder and get a good language proficiency exam का score, and you target top 200, top 250 universities in the world now, then there are banks and there are NBFCs who don't need co-applicant. Means loan will be done in your profile. If you don't have a guarantor, if you don't have a co-applicant, it can still work out. But you need to tap top institutions. Why these guys fund you is because after studying from top 300, they know that you'll get a job. So they are confident to take the decision of giving the loan without co-applicant. Logic समझ आया ना? Go ahead, go ahead. Hidden questions आने दो बार. All clear? पक्का sure? ठीक है. It's really, it was amazing to see Indian youth working hard, trying to learn new things. You know, I really appreciate you, sir. Running an organization full of students, people are connecting in Zoom. Amazing. Okay, I'll wind up this session here. Okay, so you can connect to sir if you have got more confusions that you want to ask personally. Maybe there are a few doubts that you cannot ask in public, or maybe a 10-minute, 15-minute guest session won't give you the answers for your future. You will have specific questions, you will have specific doubts that you need to sit in person and clear, right? So anytime if you feel that you need a personalized 1.5 hour counseling session with your parents, or maybe you alone, to discuss and decide what is right for you, you can always connect us individually, right? Because I believe that अकेले में बैठ के बात करने से ज़्यादा solutions निकल सकता है rather than a public discussion. So definitely get back to sir, right? He'll arrange a session and we can individually sit and discuss what is the best fit for each and every one of you, right? It was amazing. Thanks for calling me. Thanks for having me here. Hello, thanks guys.
నోట్స్ అన్ని క్లియర్ అయ్యాయి అందరికీ? ఎనీ డౌట్? సో డౌట్స్ క్లియర్ అయ్యాయంటే రేపు ఫ్లైట్ ఎక్కేయటమే, అంతేనా? రెడీయా? మరి ఫ్లైట్ ఎక్కాలంటే మరి ఫ్లైట్ టికెట్ సరిపోదు, వీసా కూడా కావాలి. వీసా కావాలంటే మనం ఆబ్వియస్గా సార్ దగ్గర రావాలి. మీరు డిగ్రీ ఫైనల్ ఇయర్లో ఉన్న ఈవెన్ +2 వాళ్ళకు కూడా వీ కెన్ ట్రై. whoever wants to plan to go abroad, please feel free to come us, meet us. We will definitely work on your application. So one doubt, in India admissions means in March or April admissions will be there, but when it comes to abroad education, which month is the admission month? Okay.
We will have other intakes will have this.
So that means in September, if the student wants to join in September intake, then at what time they have to start their application?
Country like US or Canada, I would say, and at least 5 months or 2 months. You plan it is always say a 1 year. Sometimes I suddenly I am like, and I want to go as soon as possible. At the time, it can work out in 3-4 months also.
So everything is clear. Finance is not a big deal. Don't think that. There are lot of banks and lot of NBFCs. They are ready to give education loan and any personal loan also, based on your skill, not based on your income. There are some other loans which they provide only based on income, but there are lot of banks and NBFCs. They will provide the loans based on your education background. So obviously our students, most of the students are more than 70% will be there in their +2. So it is very easy. 60-65 is just like, these are very normal percentage in +2.
That's my
So that is not a big deal to everyone. Backlogs, coming to backlogs, there is no issue about backlogs. Even though you have a backlog in BCom, you can get into foreign education. Earning money in rupees is not that much good. When you are earning the same, when you are working the same number of hours and getting the money in dollars, it will be a different rate. The value is different, right? Same work, but the place is different. You are earning more money, not double, triple. It will be like $1 equal to 80 rupees. If you are earning money in dollars, it will be like earning lakhs of money. There are a lot of my friends and colleagues who are completed their chartered accountant, doing their job in UK and USA, not in India. They are earning in lakhs, not in rupees. In dollars, they are like earning monthly $10,000, $5,000, minimum $5,000 they used to get. $5,000 means it will be the average minimum they will get. So even if you are spend $2,000 or $3,000 there in US, still you have $2,000 surplus in every month, not for a year. Every month means every month you can save minimum at least 1 to 2 lakhs. Yearly you can save 20 lakhs. That is the starting year. I'm not talking about the experience. I'm talking about the freshers. Okay. If a fresher able to save 20 lakhs in a year, then you can imagine how much a experienced person, like 5 years, 10 years experienced person can save. Yesterday I have attended one of my friend function, Saturday. They are working in Malaysia. The function is like I never seen in my entire life. They are just doing their job in Malaysia. If he is just qualified BTech and he is completely in foreign, and his brother is in India, he is earning like thousands. Okay. That much difference of lifestyle will come. So plan accordingly, dream big. Whenever if you want to go abroad, and plan in a bigger way. So don't think that dreaming in India and Hyderabad, everything, it will settle your life. You have to grow. You have to move. Okay. So plan accordingly. Whenever you are planning for the foreign education, please feel free to reach us. We will definitely work on it. Okay. Any doubts? Still anyone? Any doubts? Any doubt? Even if it is a silly doubt, we can answer. About education, about admission time, about application process. It hardly application, it will take 2 to averagely it will be 3 to 5 months, right? Minimum 3 months you have to start your application based on our entry points: September, January and May.
As a pattern,
Yeah, if you are able to, not just you motivate your friends, inform to your friends, whoever wants to do their education in foreign, it will be a better life. Okay. The foreign education is for the extraordinary people, not for the normal. You should be think big. Okay. That's it, sir. Fine. Thank you. You can go for the lunch.